When I reviewed the PNSO Helicoprion, I realized how good and prolific PNSO could become if it branched into more prehistoric non-dinosaurs. I was looking forward to the next one, and now a half year later, we have it. This time, we're looking at Haylee the Helicoprion, or the so-called buzzsaw shark. Like Helicoprion, this is one oddity teeth-wise. Unlike Helicoprion, however, this was a harder conundrum to solve. Now, strictly speaking, it's not a shark, but belongs to Eugeneodontid, which are also cartilaginous fish, but with symphysial tooth whorls, such as the slightly less bizarre Edistus. Now, unlike vertebrates, cartilage doesn't fossilize, so we really only have tooth whorls Helicoprion. For years, there was plenty of speculation where it would go on the body, until 2013. A study was done using CT scans by Tappelina et al. On IMNH 37899, strongly suggesting where the palatal quadrate in green, the Maccallion in blue, and the labial in red cartilages were. And in so doing, it helped to fix the position of the tooth whorl within the mouth, the relative position of the chondrocranium, and hence the most likely position with respect to the whole head. So from all this, they propose this. And this is indeed what we see here in this beautiful model from PNSO. The size estimate for Helicoprion is 5 to 8 meters, that's 16.5 to 26 feet, though I've seen estimates as high as 12 meters. Now, this model measures 21 centimeters or 8.5 inches, making the scale anywhere from 1 to 24 to 1 to 38 scale, bracketing the 1 to 35 scale we all love. The name Helicoprion means spiral saw, and you can see why. The most obvious selling points are these bizarre teeth, and you see here the reconstruction is proposed in the Tappelina 2013 paper. The jaw is articulated, and with that comes seam lines. Now, while my mind easily ignores them in other models, here it's really quite obvious. And the way the mouth is constructed, it can look quite jarring. Now, one solution would have been to have the mouth permanently open to allow the buzzsaw to show. But in this case, I'm really quite okay with it because it facilitates understanding how we think the tooth whorl works. So here's the idea. The Helicoprion approaches its prey and opens its mouth. The frontmost teeth impale the soft parts. Next, the jaw starts to close. The frontmost teeth travel posteriorly and pull the prey with it. Continued closing engages the intermediate teeth. And at a certain point, the hard shell starts to get pinched between the jaws. And finally, as the mouth fully closes, it drags the soft prey further in until suction does the rest, pulling it down the esophagus. The hard parts get unceremoniously discarded. There's also a lever effect. Now you can see that for the same amount of mouth closure, the tooth crowns at the tip travel further than those near the pivot point. So these have a velocity advantage, while those near the pivot have a force advantage.
Fascinating.
Here's the front view of this, where you can see again the entire process ending up with the poor prey being hoovered up into the mouth. Unfortunately, the mouth doesn't close fully. Now the body. And the first thing I'll say is I'm absolutely in love with the color. Now, PNSO has a habit of favoring very brown-based coloration, which I sometimes wish they'd deviate from. Now, to be honest, I was expecting to be bored, but in hand, any such sentiment goes out the window. The first thing to note is they've created a layering that results in not just a shiny gleam, but a kind of iridescence. I don't know if I'll be able to capture it, but if I were to tilt it, like in a roll, you should see a bluish tint. But at other angles, there's a purplish tint. Like many fish, it's counter-shaded, brown and off-white in this case, which is a sensible color scheme. But just look at how smoothly the colors transition. The tips of the fins, the sides of the body, and here in the face. Even the belly is not just a single color, which would have been easy to get away with, but here we see different shades. Obviously, we don't have any of the body, but we can take a guess. Eugeneodontida generally have fusiform bodies and homocircle tails. Indeed, you see that torpedo shape and the two tail lobes of equal size. These are characteristics of fast-swimming predators. I'm happy that PNSO has decided not to just slap on a shark's body so you won't get the typical shark finish. So the pelvic, anal and secondary dorsal fins in many sharks are absent here. Instead, consistent with Eugeneodontida, Helicoprion has one dorsal, one caudal, and a pair of pectoral fins. The gill basket is very nicely done, both in sculpt and the way the color is applied. Now, consistent with other Eugeneodontids like Ferdinea, and indeed many cartilaginous fish, there are 5 gill arches. Also, I love the texturing. PNSO has given her a subtly rough texture, and you can feel the slightest abrasiveness. If you've ever touched a shark, due to its microscopic dermal denticles, you'll know it looks smooth, but really isn't. Hopefully you can just make out some of that texturing too. Just look at that paint application and the gleam that hits the Helicoprion. Just look at the muscle separation here. And here too. And also here. And finally, look at these hints of damage on the fin. You can see it's not a contiguous edge. This is a real used animal, not some picture-perfect cookie-cutter fish. Now interestingly, here's the embossed signature of Zhao Chuang. The only thing I wish is that this Helicoprion actually came with a stand, because you can see it's resting on the lower lobe of the caudal fin. And you can see how this beautiful structure can warp over time. So I might get somebody to fashion some stands for me. Unfortunately, I don't have a single shark figure, not even the PNSO Megalodon, one of the very few PNSO figures I actually find quite ugly. But as an idea of how she sizes, here she is with a couple of marine creatures. First, a likely prey item, the Collectae ammonite. A nautilus, we have the wild safari Dunkleosteus, and finally the PNSO Excalibursaurus. Now, just for fun, so that's it for the PNSO Helicoprion. It's really a wonderful representation of a very obscure, bizarre and long overdue species. It represents the consensus appearance of its toothed world and respects its correct placement as one of the Eugeneodontidae and not just simply a shark, with an anatomy to match. Now that really speaks well of PNSO's scientific rigor. With a nice shiny, sensible color scheme and a texture to add interest, this is a must-have if you really like prehistoric non-dinosauria. And with this and the Etapodentatus, I really hope for more from PNSO. For example, an Edistus, the other very well-known Eugeneodontid. And an updated Plesiosaurus is also way overdue, at least for my collection.